We're shaking cats and kittens. Rob Lee here with a special message from this month's presenting sponsor. So I got a question. What was the first Black-owned business in America to offer publicly traded stock? Stumped? Here's a hint. You definitely want to see how the sausage gets made on this one. Learn about it in our food gallery at the Baltimore Museum of Industry. Details at thebmi.org. Also, use the code TRUTH50, that is TRUTH50, and you'll get 50% off of admission at the front desk, or use it when you're purchasing tickets online. So again, visit thebmi.org. Welcome to The Truth in Its Art. I am your host, Rob Lee. And today, I have the privilege of being in conversation with the founder and CEO of Hide and Seek Entertainment, LLC, which is an acclaimed marketing and event consulting company based in Baltimore, Maryland. Please welcome Heidi Klotzman. Welcome to the podcast.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much.
See, I'm making the rounds. You know, the guests get more prestigious and acclaimed and illustrious as I'm going levels and levels and levels into this Baltimore scene.
You're so funny. You just happen to hit a down-to-earth one.
Well, that's a good one. So I want to start off really with, I give the cut and paste, the copy and paste kind of introduction. Give us the vital stats. Give us your background and at a very high level, describe your work.
Oh, high level.
Or get as low as you like, because you said, down to earth.
No, it's all good. Let's see. Well, my background is I'm from the Baltimore area. Most of my work is in the city. I live right outside of it. I went to Roland Park Country School and then Goucher, and started my company when I was at Goucher. Was a psych major there, and just started in promoting nightlife, Club One, rest in peace, and then from that point forward, just branched out and marketed different concepts all over the city at different restaurants and clubs and hotels and such, networking, fashion shows, live music events, things of that nature. And then started advertising like charitable events and festivals and just all kinds of different programming, cultural stuff all over the city, to the following that I had built up to that point. And at this point, what it's evolved into is like three branches on a tree. There's H&S promotion, and that's like promoting events and businesses in Baltimore through like all kinds of different channels. Like digitally, email, private mobile subscriber, really, really any way. And, excuse me, that was just, of course, a text coming in about work. But yeah, so, and the second one is like H&S VIP events, and that would entail the private influencer events that I host for brands to get them a serious exposure. I specialize in like high-end real estate openings, beauty and fashion, and like restaurants, food and beverage for those influencer events. And lastly, H&S Talent is a live music and DJ booking and programming for local hospitality venues and special events. So those are the three main things on a professional basis. On a personal basis, did you want to know that as well? Or?
Please, the floor is yours.
Okay, sure. Oh, don't say that. We'll be here till next week. Okay. On a personal level, I'm just a human and very creative and appreciative of the arts. I have 2 books out. I think we're going to discuss that later. Mm-hmm. I'm working on a third about my dad's life and tenure in the entertainment business, which is very colorful. I try to do as much as I can to give back for outreach. And it's also for selfish reasons, because it just makes you feel better about yourself and more fulfilled to help anyone when you have the opportunity to. So it's twofold in that regard.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I read that H&S has a great reputation. Obviously, I've been following you on social media, seeing just everything everywhere. It's popping, as they say.
Oh, you're so sweet.
And your name has become synonymous with like Baltimore's like events or what have you. Like you're somewhere in there. Where does that drive for like excellence come from? Because that reputation is earned over time and through sweat equity, hard work, and building that out.
Oh boy, sweat equity, dude, that is so on point. Sorry to interrupt. Are you?
No, that's so.
Okay.
Yeah, where does that drive for excellence come from, and maybe who are some of those like influences and or mentors for you when it comes to like chasing that excellence?
For me, it's not necessarily chasing excellence. It's really just doing the best I can with what I have. I'm very achievement oriented. Mm-hmm. Like I just always feel better when I'm being productive and setting goals and achieving them. I guess, we all have different ways to value ourselves, and mine is sadly achievement related. And I say sadly because I don't think that that's the best way to be. But that's kind of just how I'm wired. So yeah, I mean, I just like to get things done so that I can feel good about them and then look back at them and see what was accomplished. So I guess I can tell my ego later on, yes, you did something, you did this, you made an impact, you were meaningful.
Yeah. No, that's a big thing. That's big. One of the ways I would ask that question, I was like, what drives you? Is it spite? Is it ambition? Like, what is it?
Spite. Yeah.
Same. I'm running off of spite and a little ambition, but mostly spite.
Well, yeah, I wanted to build a good track record in Baltimore. And success is different for different people. For me, yeah, of course, it's nice to build some capital and some wealth. But for me, especially my center of focus was always, again, being impactful, becoming well known for the specialties that I do. Yeah, and things of that nature. So that would be success to me. Is again being super known in the market. Honestly, like equates to, if not more, than building income. I know, which is not, again, I'm unconventional. Yeah. A lot of businesses live and die with the bottom line. And I put so much, like you said, sweat equity into stuff, maybe too much. So, yeah.
well, that's a nice segue, actually. And I relate to it. And having these types of conversations, I am iconoclastic. I just kind of do my own thing. And people are always in my ear. How are you going to scale this? And so on. It's just like, look, I'm not doing this for that. I'm doing this for the community. And I think too often.
Yeah, no, I sense that.
Yeah.
I sense that in you.
And I think too often, like, our people here are just like, oh, your story's not valid. And it's like, well, I'm going to use what I know how to do to get those stories out there the best way that I know how.
Yeah. Just because it's not relevant to them has no bearing on its validity.
Yeah. So with this, and we're in a kind of a similar bucket, although at different levels, because you're crushing it. You're a marketer, talent agent, and an influencer to thousands of social media followers. You've got a busy social calendar, obviously. And how do you? It was dead.
It was dead for 2 years because of the pandemic. But now, and normally in winter, seasonally, and now it's pretty ramped up.
So how do you keep it all in order? How do you keep it all in order?
Oh, I don't. No one does. Everyone lies. I don't keep it all in order. No, I'm just like super anal and prepared, like over prepared for certain things. And like the second I need to get something done, like I get it done like immediately, so that even all my texts are clean, my inbox, like my email, like they're all clean. I'm super like retentive about that stuff. It's the Virgo moon, I think, in me. But yeah, when it comes to keeping things in order, I could do a much better job in the sense of structure, especially because, then there's like a beginning and an end to the workday, which is another question I think you discussed having.
Yeah. Yeah. I think being able to have like a process of how these things work, like a lot of times when we're in this kind of entrepreneurial journey and we're doing our things, we're just like, this is the way I'm doing it. And I'm kind of the same way. Like I had a couple of emails before I got on here of different consulting and such I'm going to do. And I'm like, yeah, I'm typing this back immediately or scheduling this something just so I know that it's addressed because it will fall
so
off.
it's off your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your shoulders, because like everything that like we do or don't do, is like I'm learning more and more is felt, and then there's results in the body. So of built up tension.
No, that's very true. Like when I was doing these movie screenings, and it's always a thing. And when I'm in front of people, because I have this specter of not being in front of people. Hey, I'm on Zoom and we're just recording this. Hey, I can fake it, right? And and I can get away without wearing pants or whatever, shoes or something that makes me feel more comfortable. But if I have to go in front of folks, there's a different set of requirements there, and my energy level is dead. I'm depleted afterwards because it's a different undertaking. So. One of the things like I wanted to know is what is advice that you would give specifically to female founders or CEOs at the beginning of their entrepreneurial journey, like something that you've either heard and applied or something that you've learned that you would share with female founders or entrepreneurs?
I would say connect with other female entrepreneurs immediately. And, reach out to people like me. And like, there's a lot of other folks you can DM and just say, that you're getting involved in this entrepreneurial community, and this is what you do and who you are, and that you'd love to connect and add value at the same time, of course, not just the ask, but, offer yourself up to support what it is that they're doing and what they have going on genuinely. And, then you'd be surprised. You start slowly. Even people are a little more skeptical nowadays. But you start building a crew like of folks around you that you can trust and brainstorm and bounce over things with as you go, like about your successes and about the challenges.
Yeah, I think the way that we approach communication has changed a lot, and people feel a little gun shy or not as confident in approaching people. And I'm
also on like DM, like because people are getting hacked all over the place right now. So you don't necessarily always know who you're talking to. So yeah, just do your due diligence, and just don't click on any links in the DMs.
Absolutely not.
Hacking. But yeah, you can just ask for the email and then, email them directly if you have any interest, or texting. There's all kinds of ways.
Yeah. And that's the way that I am when people reach out about like, hey, how do I get into space? And, what are some of the tips? Because I see that you're, doing podcasts like regularly. I've been doing it for a very long time. And I'm like, well, information is to be shared. You don't have to try to make money, or it's like, look, serve the community, add value to someone and really establish connection.
It doesn't cost that much, like just a smidge of time. If you're sharp like you are, it takes you very quickly to answer a question or what someone needs. And of course, if they want to go in depth and consulting and such, you should charge for your value to add to whatever someone has going on. But if it's, like newcomers just asking a few things and some tips, it's important to be helpful, because that's what you would have wanted when you started.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, too often we just like, some people just are against that, and, and having to do more DM oriented things and sending more emails. Like, I wish people were more like you and I, where it's like, look, I'm going to respond to this. I'm just got to do this. Or
yeah, I mean, if someone's like super annoying or like, kind of negative or egotistical in their messaging, it's really all about like, I guess, tone and delivery when talking to new folks and even old folks. So it's just, when something comes across to me and I'm like feeling turned off by it, yeah, I'm not going out of my way. But if it seems like it's a sincere person, then it's totally fine.
Yeah. I think sometimes we get a preview early of maybe what our calling can be, right? And calling, I've learned in doing this podcast, is a very important word. Like, people trivialize it, but it's a very important word. So tell me about maybe your first experience, either as an entrepreneur or on the business side of like entertainment, that you may have had when you were younger, maybe had as a kid. Because like, I think back to, and I had a guest point this out to me. It was like, I feel like you were in front of a stage when you were a kid. And I was like, I was. And now, as I was saying earlier, that terrifies me. So it's like captivating and talking to people and saying stuff of value. Sure. Being in front of people, I don't know.
Well, no, you have the voice for it.
Thank you.
I mean, yeah, you have a very special, clear voice. But when it comes to, you're talking about the inspiration from childhood?
Yeah, like any
like
of the
calling. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I always wanted to bring people together. I got like joy and satisfaction from introducing people to other people that didn't know each other, and especially bringing people from different diverse backgrounds together, because I saw very early on as a kid how people were so self-segregated socially. Mm-hmm. Not at work or school, perhaps, because they couldn't control that. But socially, it was just a self-imposed all white this group, or all black this, or all, whatever this at the lunch tables, for parties and all that. And it just never made sense to me. And it seemed pretty obnoxious. So I would very deliberate about being inclusive to people of all backgrounds, because it just enriches the space. It enriches you and everyone else, and also helps to break down really obnoxious, racist and sexist and all kinds of barriers. So that was really an early calling. And then, I would just have parties, and it just felt like I was supposed to be the life of them. I grew up watching my dad promote concerts, and I, looked up to him in terms of what it took to produce concerts locally and nationally. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that just that propelled me, because of just that feeling when you go to an arena or a show, and I always say, and it's true, like everyone, the smell of it, like everyone's perfume and cologne is like mixing, and then there's this one scent. There's all this energy, and it's a community. And then they're also obviously there mm-hmm. for who is on stage, but just the theatrics, everything about it, I found very fascinating. So. And even in middle school, I had like a kind of famous bat mitzvah when I was 13. I had like 4 Baltimore club icons DJing it, this little Jewish kid. And I made sure, there were folks there from like private school, public school, all the different backgrounds. Again, I almost enjoyed, it was entertaining and amusing for me to see people realize oh wow, there's people I don't normally hang out with here, and then watch them try to interact. I mean, maybe that's kind of weird, but I like to push the envelope on that stuff. But yeah, the 4 club icons were Scotty B, who's still around, great guy, DJ Booby, still here, and Miss Tony and Reggie Reg passed, unfortunately. But those were the 4. And it was a little bit unusual for typical bat mitzvah, but that's what I liked. And then, and I found them out, by the way, by going to, I don't know, was Security or Westview? Uh-huh. Was it Westview? West something mall? Yeah. Growing up, and there was that store where they would do track 43, track 45, track. Yeah. Yeah. And you would hear all these club mixes, and they would also play them at the mixers. The Black Awareness Club parties or whatever at school. And it was just the best, most fun, most lively music. And I was like, wow. So that's how I got introduced to all of it, probably from a friend. But then, and tangential, of course. But then on to high school, the calling evolved into hosting a VH1 Save the Music benefit at our house for a school project, and that one had 4 goals: to throw a great party, for it to be diverse on stage, for it to be diverse off stage, and to highlight some great local talent. One was Naeem Jawan, formerly Spank Rock, and I was like 18. We were all young. He was from Gilman, and he, got pretty big, touring with his work. It's really, really creative dude. And then there's Easy Jackson was, of course, there, and dates back all the way, to high school. It was like 20 years ago. He was in the group, maybe I think it was called The Connection or something, with some other guys from School for the Arts. So we had like one hip hop, one Naeem's all over the place. It's like genre crashing. So then there was another hip hop group from the county, and there was a rock group.
Yeah.
And it was just a great night. We raised money. Like, it wasn't that much, but I mean, it was something. It was the first contribution to the Baltimore chapter. So it was like 200 kids, $5 a head, except for the people who ran through the forest to avoid the the cover. And I took a lot of like pride in that, because like, I mean, the kids in the schools, they should have music programming.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because it really helps build confidence and give an outlet, especially when you're as bored as I was in math and science. You need something else at school, especially if you're not into sports. There's theater as well, which is important, but I think that's pretty much covered in schools. But the music programming, it seems like the first thing to get cut.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like a calling that regenerated in a different fashion in college. And then I told you how it went from college to now.
Yeah. Thank you for taking us through that, because I think you're going to be particularly interested, because there's a episode with Scotty B that's in this list. You have to check that out.
Oh, sweet! I love him so much. He's so amazing. Like him and DJ Booby. Like when they go live and their sets, I just go ballistic. I start dancing. I forget I'm exercising, and they're just legends.
Yeah, it's really.
I'll definitely check that out.
It's a really funny question at the end when I asked the rapid fire questions. I was like, "So which drink do you not like?" He's like, "I don't like water." I was like,
I'm sure.
It was really funny.
It's in everything.
Yeah, right. So I listened to this TED Talk, and these are the last like 2 real questions before I get to these rapid fire ones. I listened to a TED Talk a little while back, and one of the key takeaways in it was not to bury your failure. You can learn and grow from it. I think too often we kind of like, I failed at that. I'm not going to take anything from it. Tell me about a time where you failed like spectacularly, because when we take chances, we fail, and but you learn something from it. So tell me about a time where you failed like really badly, but you learned an important lesson from that failure.
Oh Lord, there's too many.
That's an honest answer.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I make mistakes. Maybe not as many as I used to. But I'm thinking about what was the biggest failure. Like, I'd tell you that. No, I'm pretty open about stuff. But let's see something. What was a decent failure per se? I don't necessarily see any as failures. I really just see trial and error. As I went along, and still, as you go along, because like, what do you learn from all these mistakes? I mean, you try not to repeat them, but we're human and we're habitual.
Yeah.
So maybe we can catch ourselves better next time, catch ourselves faster, maybe be a little more diplomatic and mature when there's conflicts. I've learned a little better to hold my tongue on certain things, because it's very expressive and there's no like ceiling or boss here. Mm-hmm. So I am. So there's no one to kind of discipline me or like, make me come correct per se. And like in difficult environments, but like really just as you go, you learn to navigate things a bit better. And every now and again, there'll be some kind of miscommunication, especially during Mercury, which is in retrograde now.
Yeah.
And tell me that doesn't affect stuff.
It
because
does.
There's so many. Yeah. No, I know. But there's all these dudes online like, it doesn't astrology, like, isn't real and this, that, and the other, even though like our bodies are like mostly water and the moon affects the tides, then affects water, which is, us. But yeah, so much stuff since this last one started has people misunderstood each other. There's offense taken when not needed. I mean, in personal and business, it's crazy.
Yes,
but your answer as to the failures, just nothing is necessarily coming to mind that I would consider that. There's things that I regret that I've said and done over life, but I don't really, again, see it as, a failure.
No, I understand that. That's an honest way of looking at it. Like sometimes two things. Sometimes when I'm on that kind of wave where I'm at my most confident, never failed. It's like I turn to LeVar Ball, never failed, no losses. It's like, all right, settle down. Like you've done a bad podcast. Or and with the retrograde, yes, like because this is such a people-oriented thing. You have to book, yes, you have to talk with them. And, I was reading a quote earlier. I need to break down a little bit that like art is like sex or what have you. And it's just like, look, you got to be honest and all of these different things. James Nasty posted it. And it's interesting where, there's a certain degree of like intimacy in the conversation where people are talking about their motivations, talking about their work. And, there may be this feeling that connection is different than it is. And with something that's people oriented and having a retrograde, it just leads to confusion sometimes. And just
a lot of stress.
Sure. Yeah. And last week it was at its worst. And I was like, I'm going to get off of Instagram for a bit. I don't need you to directly contact me.
Yeah. Sometimes that time away is crucial.
Yeah. So this is the last real question. I can't leave out the fact that with all of the other things that you're doing, all of the other titles that you have, you're also an author. And you said you were working on your third book or what have you. So tell me about like the process of like maybe writing your first book and kind of where you're at in writing your third book. And what were those feelings that you've had upon completion of the two that you've done so far and where you're at with this current one?
Okay. I've been writing poetry since I was little, and it escalated a lot when my parents divorced because it was a great outlet. And it's a great outlet for not fitting in or for feeling rejected or not feeling great. For women especially, we harp a lot on body image, so that was definitely a part of it as well. So yeah, there was like early on, would write, the first poems were really bad. And then like, I guess I was like 11 and then, progressively, I guess they got a little more interesting and better. And my anxiety, I think, helped generate like some very rhythmic ones in high school. So that was the first book, was a compilation, I think, of my best work that I felt I could share publicly at the time, because some of the best work is pretty out there. And then the second book was a decade of Facebook statuses. So I basically took like the best ones from 10 years and the funniest and the deepest ones. And I thought they could help people out and people might enjoy them, because I love books of quotes, something that like when you read or say right away, you catch an epiphany from it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one I dig a lot because there's a lot of fun stuff in there and things to make you think. And getting both out was really important. I didn't do all the bells and whistles. I self-published because I just needed to get it out there. These had been ready for years, but I was being super perfectionist about it. And then I was just like, who cares? Like, I'm not doing this for sales. I'm doing this to publish, something I'm proud of.
Yeah.
And if people buy it, that's cool. But if they don't, it's not my primary occupation or anything. And not that would suck, but it's difficult. It's difficult. The third one is, like I said about Dad, it's very complex, because he was a very big concert promoter, locally and then regionally and then nationally, and dealt with a lot of struggles and different things that were going on in his life that caused him to be. A lot of his work was totally brilliant. But there were times that were extremely difficult for him and difficult for the family.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that it would be great to kind of tell the whole story, the good, bad, and the ugly of the life, and share lessons from it and really funny stories from it, and encapsulate his being, because he is one of the most, if not the most fascinating human I've ever known.
Thank you. And
yeah, sure. But yeah, they make you feel good. So just get it out there, and you can just, hand something over to someone instead of a normal gift. Like, here's my heart,
yeah,
or here's like, some of my brain. People can get to, if you're open, and a lot of it's confessional, the poetry per se too. People can read it and know you without even talking to you.
Yeah, it's an intimate thing.
And that's good and bad.
Yeah.
The same thing with social media. People, oh, I know you, I've been following you. Like, yeah, what I've shared.
Right. This is curated.
Yeah. Obviously there's a lot of stuff we don't feel the need, like, or compelled. There's stuff we definitely don't want to put out. And then there's other stuff that, as you get older, like, hopefully, at least I've gotten to a point where I don't need to share everything that I think or that I do.
Yeah. I remember when I was younger, I could not look at old, like, social media posts that I did, because I'm thinking of, like, 21. Man, I have indigestion. It's like, is that a status? Is that a status, Rob?
Yeah,
are you proud of that?
Right. Yeah, we're just so TMI. Like, and the Gen Z is crazy TMI. God love them. I'm like on the cusp of the last millennial year. So like that would be the cusp of Gen X. So like I think we've learned to be a little more present in the moment. I tell my dude Mo that I'm just like, honey, can you collect your photos and videos at the event? That's great. Or when we're hanging with people, but post it later so you can actually be with the people. Mm-hmm. Because it's not that urgent. And, he gets on me because he likes to document in the moment. And I totally get it. I mean, if I didn't do it for a job, maybe I would too. But that's just, another example. But yeah, a lot of the younger millennials and all of Gen Z is just like, if you think it's posted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think one, it's good to have a place to express yourself, but two, you can't necessarily trust everyone, with your innermost thoughts. Things can be used later on.
Yeah.
Or it sometimes is not taken, kindly, but by other folks. Not that that's your fault, but I just think as you, again, just like in business, I think personally, as you get older, you're just a little more naturally careful with those things. I don't even try. It doesn't occur to me to post it, or if I'm about to post something, I catch myself because I realize the comments on it will take all day long, and I don't have the energy.
Yeah, I'll be old man social media real quick, and that was kind of the end of our real questions before we get to these rapid fire ones. Yeah, I mean, being in that, what do they say, like ancient millennials or what have you? It's like, look, It's like I'm 37. Don't do that. And
Yeah, and you try to help them, but you feel self-righteous because you're just like, oh, I did that too. But you want to prevent them, from your mistakes, but you just can't. People have to make their own.
Yeah, totally. So it's rapid fire time, and the way that these are going to go, I got like 5 of them for you. Try to answer these as quickly as possible. First thing that comes to the mind. Don't curate it. Don't overthink it. All right. First question. Besides money, what is your favorite way to compensate people?
Money's not my favorite way, but what's my favorite money? Favorite way to compensate people. Just support.
Okay. Most popular. What's the popular piece of entrepreneurial advice that you just disagree with? You're like, nah, I don't really agree with that. Some people say, "Oh, it takes money to make money." It's like, sure, but you're using that wrong.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I'm trying to. I know you said just what's the first thing you think of, but nothing has been thought. So hold on.
No, you good.
Yeah. Let me think. Some stuff I don't agree with. I guess the whole be professional all the time thing. I know that's going to come off bad, but professional has a weird context. Like sometimes even in networking meetings, this, that, and the other, people are so guarded that their human is out. And when their human is out, it's hard to connect with other people and make them want to like you, trust you, respect you, support you, realize who you really are. Because, as we know, a lot of times we support people over brands. Mm-hmm. And if, we support a founder, we love the founder. So we'll support their services or their products. So, yeah, I think, the whole thing about like be tight-lipped, professional, like, say exactly don't say anything personal at all and all that. I think that's very dated. And, it can go the other way as well. It's not great to be extreme and only personal as well. But I think a balance of, getting to the job at hand, but also inquiring about how they're doing and, offering any like tips or jokes or whatever, to lessen the load. Because we're really just straight up all human bear before any of this stuff, happened. And we forget that.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I agree with that. I have the same belief, that whole professionalism thing. It's so many things baked into it. There's racial things baked into it. It's a lot of goofy stuff. Oh, you're not a professional. It's like, what are you saying? I feel like you're calling me the N-word on the low. I don't know.
Oy vey.
So thank you. I was waiting for that. It's amazing. 10 on 10. So I'm going to switch up a little bit. What's your favorite dessert?
Oh my God. Black bottoms.
I love black bottoms.
Yeah. Cupcakes and Reese's.
You get it.
And Oreos.
I love a red velvet cake or tres leches too.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I dig that. I dig that. I feel you, but it would be lower on my list.
Yeah, totally. What's something about Baltimore that you wish more people knew? Because this is obviously like, not only being listened to folks in Baltimore, and we have that one of the things that this pod is doing, and I'm padding right now. One of the things that this pod does is it tries to show like, we got a lot of cool stuff here. We have like a lot of culture here that often doesn't get listed in the conversation.
Exactly. That's what I would say. I say what people don't know about Baltimore. Everyone that I think lives here, or most people that live here, know all the culture, the rich culture and talent that we have here, in singers and artists and, MCs and writers and musicians, visual, artists. I said artists, but that covers everything. And a lot of folks on the outside, it seems, just really know or have heard of the Orioles, the Ravens, the Harbor, the Wire, and the crime. So for me, I always just like to highlight the great events. I mean, I don't overlook the negative stuff because it's important to acknowledge it and work on it and support people that are actually doing something about it. and that's not every politician.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times it's community organizer folks that don't really get compensated to do it. But where was I?
No, I think you're right. I think the nail is on the head there.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes. So they, I think that, it's important to just keep highlighting a lot of the positive experiences and figures to show people just the wealth of beauty and depth that we have here. I know you love to do it. I love to do it. We have that in common.
Yeah. And, and good taste in desserts as well. So that's not.
Yeah, right.
So
they're like the fast. I like said the fast food desserts, like Oreos and Reese's, and you had some like bougie stuff.
This is true. I mean, I'll eat a McDonald's like apple pie, like straight out of the. Let's not. All right, so here's the last one, and I think I have a sense of it, but regardless, it could be movie, it could be TV, it could be meme. What is something that, without failure, is going to make you laugh? Like, what's something that always makes you laugh?
Tickling. When people tickle me, I hate them, but it definitely makes me laugh. But other things make me laugh, I like, silly, like slapstick stuff in movies from time to time, but not so dumb that you just can't tolerate it.
Right.
Stuff that clever humor for sure. I love, Dave Chappelle. I love the iconic comedians.
Well, there you have it. Thank you. Thank you for being open and taking the time and chatting with me. And
sure. Thank you for being interested. I'd like to hear more about you.
Absolutely. We'll talk again. So I know that I want to invite you to tell the fine folks where to check you out, website, social media, all of that good stuff, as if you need it, but sure, why not?
You're very sure. The site is hnsseek.com. That's HNSEEK.com. And the primary social for me would be Instagram. I'm on all the others, but I'm most active there, I believe, at the moment. So that's Hide and Seeks. That's at HEIDNSEEKS. And yeah, please follow, and would love to follow back and happy to engage.
So there you have it, folks. I want to again thank the great Heidi Klotzman for coming onto the podcast. I'm Rob Lee, saying that there is entertainment, promotion, just people doing great things in and around Baltimore. You just got to look for it.